Why, hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and this is another RiseToWar Legacy video, my friends. And today we're going to talk about the interface of Bag End. When you're in the interface and you're choosing your account. So the first thing that's most important about the interface is it's a lot like when you're actually in the game, but the big difference is the campaign map here, okay? So the campaign map is basically where you choose your maps, okay? Again, I had a previous video introducing you to the information, but just a real quick overview of the differences between some of the maps. There's Rebuilding Glory, which is basically your ability in the game. The most common game type is Tactics Evolved. That is basically where you have combat, where there's all the factions, and you can play all commanders on both sides. The generic non-roleplay Tactics Evolved. Non-roleplay or anything that doesn't have RP after it, okay? And the differences between RP and non-RP are very simple things, but RP, basically roleplay, means you can only have good commanders with good units in their armies, right? You're being good guys. Versus non-RP, where you can have an evil commander lead good Gardorian units, or you could have a character like Boromir lead orcs, right? That's a good comparison, right? With RP versus non-RP. Then you have the different maps, right? You have Tactics Evolved, which is the most generic risk type game where every faction can ally with each other or enemy with each other. Doesn't matter if you're a good or evil faction. It's just a risk board, basically. Rebuilding Glory, very similar to Tactics Evolved, except for the fact that you rebuild the capital locations that you take over in the game. So it gives a little bit more buffs and bonuses to holding an area for a long time and taking the time to repair or build the building structure up better. And then the War of the Ring is basically a special game mode that is, there's the Fellowship is trying to get to Mount Doom from the Shire, and the good teams are all allied and the evil teams are all allied automatically, and they have to battle and try to either stop the Fellowship if they're evil or help the Fellowship if they're good, okay? Those are the different 3 game types right now that are really prominent in the game, as well as difference between RP and non-RP. But this is where you'll select your game and you'll choose which one you want to do. And there's a register button right here down behind my picture, and a team list. So you can register, or you go to the team list and request to join a team for that group, that kind of thing. All right, so that's kind of how that works. This is where you get to choose that. And there's a team list button right here too in the bottom right corner that allows you to request to join a certain fellowship. I do recommend you find a group to play with. If you want to come play with us on our group, again, I will have a link to our group Discord, and you can talk to us and see if we have room or if we've already started or not. Unfortunately, if you already started, there's a certain point where you can't join a game. And remember, joining a campaign, they're all different servers, which if you're not aware of what servers mean, it's basically the dimension you're playing in of the world. You can't have, there's hundreds and hundreds, there's probably a couple thousand players in each server, but there's only so much you can have on one server, right? That's kind of the thing that's important to know. So that's what that button does. That's the most important one in Bag End. And then, of course, you have the one up here in the top left. You can click. It explains some stuff, information, and you can buy whatever you earned with your points from the last season. These are the end game rewards, basically season rewards that you're aiming for. Again, I'll have a whole extra video, and I think I already have one on the interface on this same playlist on the interface of when you're in game, right? It's a little similar, but there's just less stuff on the Bag End one. There's Recruit Commanders. This is the same button that we talked about in that other video. We'll have some updated videos coming out of this shortly if you'd like that on the same playlist. Bottom left here is where you click on this. This is your communication. You have groups that you can form. This is very important for communication. I'm gonna explain this really, really quick. You know what, actually, yeah, we're gonna explain it real quick. So basically you click this little plus button here and you can say join a group, and they'll give you a group ID number, right? This is created by someone. You also create a group. You say the name create and you'll have an ID you can give to your friends. And this group will stay together no matter what. So as you can see here, Fire, our group Fire, we have 42 members in it. But at the end of the season, some of them, the ones that you're in the faction, will get deleted until you join the next one, but these are groups I've joined that stay hooked in your system forever, so you don't lose your friends then as well. And then of course you can add friends too as well over here on the friends tab, but you can't do private messages during this time of the thing, so they don't have that option right now. But I do have a whole video on chat in game if you want to look at that as well. But anyway, that's really important to know. Here's world chat. Basically it's still everyone that's in Bag End servers can talk to each other, which is kind of nice. Now you got over here, you got your challenges. You can still do challenges. I have a video on this, and I'll have more coming out as well. But This is where you do challenges. We're not going to go into that. I want to just give you the overview. Back here, behind here, we have a couple buttons. We have in the bottom right corner behind me here is the Matham, which you can still do your daily spins. I do recommend that you come in here if you are a new player and you're waiting. Still get on daily and get your free one. Click your free one here. See what you get each day, right? And if you have coins, I usually will use my coins for the free 200 one too here. It's not free, obviously, but gives you a higher chance of getting something. Don't forget, you do need to do your wish list every time. Don't do what I just did and roll before you do your wish list. Basically, you get to choose what are your recommended, what heroes do you want to play. Again, I like dwarves, so I want that pipeweed one. I like to use this one because my Gimli and Ballin, and then for my other one, I usually use the beard one from. Again, those are the beard beads. All right. Again, I like to focus on the characters that I'm trying to make my main characters. And then I like to do Thorin, and I've been doing Treebeard. All right, so again, have those selected. That's really important, right? And again, if you like evil commanders, you want to be doing evil commanders, same thing. You can do that one instead, but you only get one free roll on one of them per day, right? That resets each day. There's also an exchange thing up here, right, for exchanging things, but we'll have another video on that. We're talking about the interface here. Now you got another button right here that's behind my screen called, in fact, you know what? I'm just going to disappear for a second so you can see it. All right, there you go. The bottom right here, you got your messages. So basically, if they send messages or someone messages you, usually this is where the team will message you from RiseToWar, and they'll tell you about things and updates, and they'll send you rewards there occasionally. There's a little help button here. This is where you can get more information on the game if you need it. More things. Again, though, I am here for that as well if you need it. I got lots of videos on guides so far. I'll be making more. Commander. This is all your commanders you own. They're all automatically level 50, so you can try things and look at their stats at level 50. Normally, when you start the game, everyone's level 1, but in here, you can kind of look and, you know, you can theorize and do your trees and stuff. Again, I'll have a whole other video on this as well on the channel. And then packs. This is basically all your items you own. The items will travel through every season with you. As you earn them, you will keep them forever. So remember that, and so will your respect items. If the item has a little, and most items will actually do that for you, but if the item does have a little thing on it that's when you're in game and it says season only, then you'll know it'll disappear at the end of the season. But all these items I had will stay in my inventory for until next season. And then up here at the top right, you have two other buttons. Let's bring me back here for a second. You have this one, which is basically how you can do some community things. This button's more helpful once game starts because there's a lot more things here you'll need to know and use for that button. And then you have your buying button, right? If you are someone who wants to put a tiny bit of money into the game, I would highly recommend these two, the Craftsman bundle and the digging for treasure, because they're not extremely expensive. This one's only $2 and you get a couple gems each day and a starter one, which is very worth it. And then this one is $10 for a month, and you get coins every month here and some gems. So very nice. You can also buy gems. They've got this thing called First Time for people, so you know. Basically what that does is it allows you to when you buy it for the first time, it'll double. In fact, actually it's more than double. They changed it. It's more than double. It goes even more than that. So or maybe they might have morphed it into the double. I would recommend, if you're going to get anything, if you're going to spend $10 or $20 or something, buy it just one time, or and they're all separate. So you could buy this one, the $20 one, and it'll give this extra amount. Or you could buy the $10 one. It'll give you an extra amount. It's not just one choice. It's all of them have it one time. And it resets at back end. And yes, it does reset when the season starts. So if you're someone who really wants to, like, oh, I don't want to spend, $100, but I want to spend $40, you can buy it once here, wait for the season to start, and this will reset. You can buy it again and get some extra points both times. Okay? I figured that out last season. So that's a nice little thing. And then you got your little daily $2 thing. You can do this if you want. This adds up a lot, though. So it's up to you if you're free to play or not. I will also shout out for this game that as a phone games seem to tend to lean towards being a little pay to win sometimes. But I would like to give a positive review to RiseToWar that they do a well job where, and it's not everything to just buy stuff. It does help you occasionally, but if you're someone that only puts in a little bit of money into the game, like in the last year and a half of me playing this game, I probably put in just over, $100, a couple hundred, I'm trying to think with math. maybe $200 in this game, and yet I'm very competitive with it. Still, I can still fight other people. It's because it's the way you design your commanders with the items, and also free-to-play players are still just as helpful because there's a limit to how many tiles you can have, and also stamina for your commanders. So that limits the issue of, you know, oh, that guy's so powerful he can beat 30 people. Well, he can't, because there's a limit to how many tiles he can have, and there's also a limit to his stamina of his characters. So you have 10 other players beating on him that are all free to play. They're probably going to win out, right? So yes, there is a slight advantage to having better gear. Absolutely. Can't lie about that. But you will earn gear for free over time as well. And you sometimes just get lucky and you get stuff. You get gold items as free to play when you do those free daily rolls. So there's definitely ways to do that. So don't feel discouraged and feel like, oh, is it one of those games that I'm just never going to be able to win? No. The big thing I would recommend, though, is have a fellowship. Have a guild group, which is a fellowship. Have a good group, the people you can work with and plan with. Because this game, it's really important to have other people online when you're not. So you're not just getting wiped while you're sleeping. You know what I mean? You have other people from maybe another part of the world that are playing and they're fighting, and when you get on, they're asleep, you know, that kind of thing. There's good things to do with that. So good little tricks and tips for you. You guys have a great day in Middle-earth. I hope that helps you out with the interface here in Bag End and a couple other tips for you. And thank you to my wonderful Patrons for your support. It means a lot. Subscribe button's there if I earned it. Next episode for RiseToWar content's up there, and a LOTR tale from Lotros content's over there with voiceovers. Have a great day in Middle-earth.